Welcome back. Merely if the complainant is a woman, it doesn't mean that her version is the gospel truth. Strong words by the Kerala High Court while hearing the anticipatory bail of a man accused of sexual harassment. In this case, the woman had alleged that the accused, who was the manager of a company where she worked, grabbed her arm with sexual intent. On the other hand, the accused had complained to the police about the woman's verbal abuse and threats and also gave a pen drive containing an audio recording of what she had said. The court stated that if the police find that the allegations of such women against men are false, they can very well take action against the complainant also, which the court said law permitted. While saying nowadays there is a tendency to implicate innocent people in criminal cases with serious allegations of sexual assault, ruining what the court said was his integrity, position in society, and reputation. So probe both sides, separate chaff from the grain, and don't take the woman's version as gospel truth. So does this really mean that there's a missing gaze? A missing gaze to how the criminal laws are implemented on the ground. I'm being joined by Brinda Adige, who's an activist, as well as Ellen Rao, who's a former DCP for Delhi. Thank you very much, both of you, for joining me. Ellen Rao, first to you. How do you look at what the court has said? Because primarily, does this mean the way the police functions, does anything need to change when it comes to probing of such cases, particularly sexual assault cases at workplace, or even otherwise? Hasn't usually the stance been that if there is a complaint in such cases, it is the onus to prove oneself innocent is on the accused? So does that change now, or is there a larger picture image around this perspective needing to change? Ellen Rao.
Good evening, Sneha. The investigation, what I mean to emphasize that investigation is to probe what are the allegations are with the authenticity of the evidences which are connected with that information. So only by saying the woman what she has alleged in any particular case or FIR, the duty of the police is to probe all the allegations independently with the proof. What she has alleged, that should be supported with the evidence, maybe a written evidence, that is a documentary evidence, or any scientific evidence, or any CCTV footage, or any scientific evidence which is required to prove that allegations. Blatantly, I think that the court has rightly observed, the Honorable Court in Kerala High Court has rightly observed that the unilateral allegations of this the women should not be taken as a gospel truth, because there may be some intentions that these may be false. But at the same time,
fair
it is
enough.
Duty of the police. If the allegations are correct, then definitely the police should take action against the perpetrator. But this is between the two things. There are separate broad line is there, that no guilty person should be spared and no innocent person should be prosecuted. This is our principle of our law and the judiciary also. So the duty of police is to probe the cases independently, thoroughly, and truthfully. Yeah.
That's true. Ellen Rao, what I'm asking you is there a case where, is this the truth that more often both the sides are not taken while the probe is going? Because if that's the case, that's wrong. Isn't a probe supposed to get into the finding of the truth, irrespective of what the allegation or the counter allegation is? Isn't that the job of the police? So the court having said what the court said, obviously there was a lapse in this particular case by the police, but largely, is there a concern as a former top cop? Are there larger concerns with the police and how they interpret laws and how they pursue investigations, particularly in such sensitive cases? Do you see any such concerns?
Yes, definitely, ma'am. This is really a very great concern about any reputation of any person. If the allegations are found to be false during trial, then what about the reputation of that person? That is to be taken care of at the time of investigation itself. When these allegations are blatantly false during investigation, then there should be some craze by the police officers to say as a spade a spade. It means that whatever is true, that should be spoken by the investigation officer, and if it is not true, that should also be come in the light of that investigation, so that no guilty person,
Okay.
no innocent person should be
Okay.
involved in that.
Okay, Brinda Adige, if I can get you in. Brinda Adige, off late, for a lot of cases that have been reported, and not just off late, if you look at it, particularly in urban spaces, in metros for that matter, a lot of cases seem to be increasingly reported where the allegation has a wrong intention, has a malified intention for that matter. How do you look at what the court has said? Is there a need to look at the gaze with which the law is looked at?
Absolutely, Sneha. We must place on record again and again that we are a deeply patriarchal society. Sexism, misogyny is almost part of the landscape. And structurally and systematically, also, we see that the agencies and the departments that are supposed to be extending safety, that are supposed to be extending that confidence in women, are still lacking. That said, I think a lot of work has been also done by government and women's rights organization to encourage and enhance reporting. Now, that reporting is something that must be placed before the police, and where the police has to do its investigation. That a judge makes a statement like this, even before you have all your investigation in place, is absolutely unacceptable. It defeats the entire letter and purpose of the law, because you are now saying, I disbelieve you. So that is why I am telling this man he can get bail, he can go out. Bail is a right, no doubt. But that said, you can just say that this is his right, he will take the bail and go. Because we also are contesting bail many times so that there is no threat or intimidation from the other party. But making a statement that is disbelieving and saying it's not the gospel truth, does the judge believe in gospels? His job or her job is to believe in the person before him or her, and then allow for the police to bring their own charge sheet before with the evidence, or if there is no evidence, then they present it as no evidence. But when a judge makes such a statement,
No,
it
so
is
here,
almost
Brinda,
like a
it's
blanket.
interesting what you say, because you say the job of the judge, and I want to have this conversation because you said the job of the judge is to believe what is being set before him or her. In this particular case, the woman's complaint was brought before the court, but the man's complaint or the counter complaint or a complaint which apparently was given before the woman was not brought before the court. So it's in these circumstances that the court says whatever the woman says is not the gospel truth. Do you still see that as an extreme?
Yes, it is an extreme. If we do not go to the court, where else will we go? So if that woman has brought the case before the court, it is because, or it may be because, all the other avenues might not have extended that confidence, security to her. So the case has come before the court. Now the court must be neutral, because that is
And the
their
man has the
watchword.
right to be heard as well,
Man
and
has
his
a right to
complaint
be
to be
heard.
probed as well, isn't
Absolutely.
it?
Sneha, I will never dispute that both parties have a right to be heard. Both parties have a right to place their case however they want. But it is also the responsibility of the court to believe that woman and say, fine, we will be waiting for the
Okay.
rest of the investigation to come. Because that is where the court also
Okay.
reiterates the spirit of the law. Otherwise, no woman will come forward to report.
Fair point. Fair point. Let me get in Ellen Rao. Ellen Rao, I mean, look at what the concern that Brinda Adige is raising, and the Brinda Adige is not questioning that the man or his complaint must not be heard, his complaint must not be followed up on, or the police did not have a lapse in not responding or taking into consideration the man's complaint or the accused's complaint in this particular case. However, what Brinda Adige is saying is the words used by court just because the police had a lapse. So what Brinda Adige is saying, that several times there have been judgments from the court with a very patriarchal mindset. And when you make sweeping statements like this before the entire case comes before you, it gives out the wrong message. Ellen Rao, how would you look at this?
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate the concern of Brindaji, and every case has its own peculiarities. Apart from my being 36 years of my career in police, I'm for the last 10 years I'm working in High Court and other courts and dealing with such type of cases. So the saying by the judge like this, definitely it's on the extreme side, but generally all sober judges, they don't comment all these things in verbally. Verbally they don't comment, but they can, if they find anything wrong in the investigation and that they find that something wrong, blatantly wrong has come before that court, then definitely the court has its duty to access and judge what are the allegations are. That is, court is also duty bound. And then they can point it out like this, in this case might have been pointed out. Maybe something peculiar things might have been brought during the investigation or during the allegations of this case. That's why this judge might have said like this. But normally, we also have regard to the ladies, women police, women folk. Then and the allegations against the allegations by the women, that should be investigated with very sensitivity by the police. And any sort of insecurity by the women is also have a great concern by the police as well as state government. So, and judiciary also is very much inclined to give justice to the women first, and then it might be some in this particular case might be something happened.
I think justice is justice. It's not about justice to women first. I think justice means justice. Justice has no gender. So we just hope that the whole process of justice is what will be seen through. But very quickly, to both of you, I have one question, and I want both of you to respond to this. Ellen Rao Court said something very important, and that is, in cases such as this, if the complainant has made a wrong complaint, there must be action taken against the complainant, which is provided for in the law. Is it a strong enough provision? For example, if a woman or a man makes a false complaint against a colleague or against whoever it be, a partner or whoever, are there provisions strong enough in the law that the case can be taken against the complainant? Because we don't really see that often. Ellen Rao, first to you.
Yes,
a minute to you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. There are provisions in law, both in IPC, now it's BNS, and CRPC, now it's BNSS. If any complaint is found during the investigation, found a wrong complaint and incorrect allegations are there or malicious allegations are there, then that case will be cancelled and the action will be recommended by the police against the complainant, whosoever may be male or female, whatever is there. And in that case, that person who is alleging wrong allegations, that he will be prosecuted under section 182 of IPC, that is now BNS, some other section is there. And in the claim also.
Allow me to just get in Brinda Adige. Brinda Adige?
If he wishes to claim that about the reputation also, then there is a provision in CRPC, BNSS, that he can also seek a claim about the reputation he has lost about for these allegations and false allegations. So there is enough.
Yes, there is enough. There is enough laws, and we have many cases.
Let me just get in Brinda Adige, sir. Brinda Adige, one question, Brinda Adige, and this is particularly regarding workplace sexual harassment, POSH Act. In that, if there is a wrong complaint that has been filed, a quote-unquote malicious complaint that has been filed, can a counter-complaint be filed against the complainant?
A counter-complaint can be filed against the complainant, but the IC, the internal committee, also puts down its recommendations. And the company can take disciplinary action from not only fine and compensation from the complainant who has falsely made some claim like that, but also termination of service. And these have happened in the past, and we've also seen courts that have issued certain punishments. There have been punishments of even saying that 1 lakh rupees is a fine you have to give, or you go to jail for 1 month. So the court has enough space, and it has exercised all of that power that is there within it. That said, it is up to the court also to keep constantly saying, report, let the investigation happen. And if it is false, we will take action, but not make blanket sweeping statements like this, because that will stop women from coming forward and reporting.
Right. Thank you very much, both of you. Brinda Adige as well as Ellen Rao, thank you very much for joining us. An important conversation that I think we should be having more and more. Thank you very much. Well, it's time. In fact, there's a breaking news that's coming in at this point. Accused has mowed down a crowd of people with his car at a high speed, during a high speed in Germany. That's the news that's coming in at this point. Multiple people have been seriously injured as people lie on the ground. Rescuers were seen doing CPR. That's the news that's coming in at this point. There was an accused who mowed down a group of people with his car. This was while the car was at a high speed in Germany. Multiple people have been seriously injured, and as some of them are seen even lying on the ground. Rescuers were seen undertaking CPR measures to revive people. That's the news that's coming in at this point. We'll try and follow this as much as we can. For now, that's all we have for you in this bulletin, ladies and gentlemen. Up next at 7 o'clock, my colleague Shreya Upadhyay takes it over.